Welcome, everybody, to Software Speed Dating. MTD Therapy does Software Speed Dating round number one. The purpose of today is to get to know some of the MTD compliant softwares a bit better in a format that you're not used to. So, no demos here, lots of questions, and these are the questions that we've gathered from MTD Therapy, are the ones that you would like to see answered directly from software providers. So if you're not a member of MTD Therapy already, then welcome today. My name is Robin. I founded MTD Therapy back in February, and it kind of went a bit bang. I was expecting to maybe chat with maybe 5 people about plans for MTD readiness, and we're now a group of around 600 people. Tom is my partner in crime, and we will be tag teaming today to ask all the questions. It's going to be pretty fast paced, so bear with us. Just so you know, panelists, we don't have a lot of time for each answer, so be prepared that we will move you on if the answer is too long. So lovely, nice, short answers would be appreciated because we've got lots of you, and we've got lots of questions too that we're hoping to get through. The chat box is open, the question and answer box is open as well, and we will be doing our best to keep on top of that and put any relevant questions towards each software provider. If there aren't any questions that we can put to everybody live, then what we will do is we will try to gather them afterwards and get an answer from the relevant person afterwards. Okay, so let us introduce our panelists. We have Nicholas from KPM. Would you give us a wave? There we go. There's Nicholas. Wonderful.
And next up, we've got Chris Downing from Sage as well.
There we go. We have Leslie McQuigg from CCH.
Hello.
Hey, Leslie. Hello.
And then we've got David Frost from Absolute. Oh, is David
However,
in the chat yet?
he's not with us.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat. So
okay.
Oh, brilliant. Right.
So give us a second. You will have to, there we go. Let's promote David to panelist. And he should be with us now. David, if you want to turn your screen on and give us a wave and tell us that we've done the right thing by promoting you to a panelist, because you're now going to have to answer our questions. Hey!
There we go.
Okay, good. You're on mute at the moment. So wonderful. Hello, welcome. Good stuff. Okay. And then we have James from Hammock with us.
Hey, guys.
Good.
We've got Paul from Dext.
Morning, everyone.
And we've got David from Clearbooks.
Morning.
So now you know the software that is with us. Let's get moving with some of the questions. We're going to start with KPM. So, Nicholas, are you ready? Let's see if we want to date KPM. So the very first question that we have for you is, what are you looking for in a relationship? Or maybe better phrased as, who is your ideal customer?
Well, what I'm looking for is an accountant, a bookkeeper, a tax advisor, or all those who are authorized to file on the behalf of their clients, and also clients themselves as well, because we're going to enable them to file via their accountant's profile. And in the future, we will be opening up our product for clients, for end clients as well.
Okay, wonderful. So you are mainly agent facing at the moment?
Yes, at the moment that's correct. But in our existing platform, clients can access bookkeeping, and we're going to open up their user permissions so they can file for themselves, because we find that our accountants quite like some clients to be quite proactive. And those who are maybe tech savvy enough to make their own submissions.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. So can you tell us a little bit about your price ranges? So what would be the lowest possible license cost, the highest possible? How does your pricing work?
So we kind of have two options at the moment. One is that you take out a compliance product with us. And so it's for up to 100 clients. That's kind of like our generic bracket, and that's £19 a month. So I think it's 228 per annum, and that gives you access to 100 clients and there's no restriction on user licenses as well. But we also have an end user product as well, which is like receipt scanning, invoice scanning, bank statement scanning, all singing, all dancing. And that also enables the end user to do or have access to our MTD product. And at the moment, that's $7.99 per client a month.
Okay, thank you very much. Tell us a bit more about the licenses. So this is something that causes quite a bit of confusion for people. How do your licenses work? Can you submit multiple types of income? So the classic example being somebody that is a sole trader, but also has a rental property. How does that work on KPM?
Yeah, so we just see one client equals one client. If a client has multiple income streams or businesses, that's still kind of enveloped under the same client profile. And so there's not like a separate charge for that. But also we don't charge for user licenses if you're an accountant. So that an accountant can set up a bookkeeper if they wanted to do the quarterly filing for them. Or as I said, maybe the client user themselves into the MTD product and they won't be charged for that. And if you did go down our 365 product route, it's still per client. So if one client has maybe 2 or 3 people who you might use that product, it's still the same monthly cost. I hope that's clear.
Fabulous. I don't have any more questions on that. If anybody does have, we have a question in the chat. So, KPM, sorry, I'm not clear. Can you file MTD on the £19 per month for 100 clients, or do you need them all onto the $7.99?
It's a great question. So at KPM, we want to give our users options. Okay. So one option is that your clients use a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet can be filed through our bridging solution in the MTD product. So that's still in there. Or they could use our existing bookkeeping product, which is free to end users. That will integrate with our MTD product, and that can do the filing. So that the MTD product, which is integrated to the spreadsheet and to our bookkeeping module, is £19 plus VAT a month, up to 100 clients. We do also have micro pricing and micro bite pricing for those who are just starting out. However, if you want to have a user who maybe is more proactive, who scans the receipts, the invoices, and is a bit more hands-on, that is also connected to our MTD product. And that license in its entirety is $7.99 plus VAT a month. So you've got options.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So another question that's really come from MTD Therapy is the thought of choosing the submission period for quarterly updates. Can you choose your submission period? Do you have set ones? Is it completely free range? Is it or are you only submitting up to the quarter end? How do the quarterly updates work?
So in that period, the quarterly update period, you can make as many submissions as you'd like for as many different time periods you would like, as long as it sits between any date in that quarterly period.
Okay. So do you have a button that says up to the quarter end? So whether it's a calendar.
So essentially, the product, it won't allow you to submit a transaction that is dated outside of that quarter period. Mm-hmm. And you can just upload as many different transactions as you'd like, as in days, weeks, months. You can just upload it, and then that will then form into your filing. So yeah, there's no restriction on filings or time periods within that filing.
Brilliant. Okay, next on to customer service and your process. Is there a phone line? Do you have an online ticket system? How quickly do people get a response? How responsive are you as a partner?
Sure. So we do have a phone line. We do have a ticket line. That's kind of standard service, shall we say. That's open from Monday to Saturday. I think it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 10 till 4 on Saturday. You also have your own account manager if you're an existing KPM customer. And if you were to join KPM, you get your dedicated onboarding manager for the first 100 days of your time with us, who would then be there to kind of ease your transition into our software.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Can you do everything via a smartphone?
So the only elements you can do in the smartphone at the moment would be the receipt scanning, invoice scanning aspect, and uploading kind of bank statements. but at the moment you can't do quarterly filings through the product, through the phone. It would have to be via the desktop version.
Okay. And do you know whether that's a capability that will be built in when you're more client facing?
Potentially, but I wouldn't like to be pushed on that.
Fair enough. We won't push you on that. Good. And how about end of year returns? Is that something that KPM can facilitate?
Yes. At the moment, those who are part of our pilot scheme or beta scheme can see the end year submission process as it stands now, and with the HMRC APIs that we're connected to. What we're trying our best to do is kind of mirror it to our existing self-assessment return. So all the bells and whistles that are existing in our self-assessment product, have that in the end of year filing. So self-assessment questionnaire, dividend database, detailed tax calculation, SA 302, stuff that you'd expect in the SA 100 process. We're now building that out.
Okay, fantastic. Is there expected to be any income sources that you won't be able to cope with for that final return?
We're integrating with all HMRC APIs.
Everything. Okay, and how far through the build process are you?
I would say we're about 80% there. So we probably ticked off most of the connections to all available HMRC APIs. It's about just refining the customer experience. And as I said earlier, kind of mimicking what our users are familiar with in the SA 100 process, but trying to get that up to speed in our MTD product as it stands.
Fantastic. You'll be pleased to know this is now the last question for you for now. If you cease to subscribe, do you have read-only access, or is an export of data necessary?
Both are available.
Okay, and how long is the read-only access available for?
We usually do it on a month at a time. So you just raise a ticket, give us a call, and we'll open up your account for a month.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I don't believe we've had any.
I've got a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Go on then.
So I think you've done a great job there, Nicholas. There's only been a couple. So the first one is from Leander. Apologies if I get saying them wrong. Can KPN submit now where there are 2 or 3 trades for one individual?
Yes, we have done successful submissions to date for people who have a income, self-employment income, and have landlord income as well, or rented property income.
Fantastic. I don't understand the anonymous attendee question, if I'm honest, but I'll ask it anyway. How do you design interfaces that promote healing rather than dependency?
Well, the only thing I can answer that with is that the more of our accountant users who use our product, the more feedback we get to enhance the experience. And I hope that causes more enjoyment than frustration. And if they're healed in that process, all the better.
Okay, thank you. So are we swiping left? Are we swiping right? Please make use of the reaction buttons if you hear things that you like. Good, we've got some hearts going there. Very nice. So good. Next up is Sage. Tom, over to you.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hello, Tom. Very well, thank you.
Fantastic. So going to run through the same questions.
Okay.
First off, so what are you looking for in a relationship? Who's your ideal customer at this point?
Relationship or our ideal match? Well, our ideal match is an accountant or bookkeeper who wants to take control of MTD. And that's whether through AI, through automation or AI-enabled tools, but effectively improving their workflow, the time they spend working with their clients. But also, we cannot miss the fact that actually majority or 30% of sole traders do not work with an agent today, and therefore it's supporting the tools which they need as well. So whether that's from free or paid for, but also more importantly, if they're using tools which are available to the direct market, we're driving that awareness that they should speak to an accountant or bookkeeper for some additional help and support.
Fantastic. And what sort of price ranges have your licenses got then? I've seen a few, but what would you break it down as?
Well, we try and make it really simple. We start off with free. So Sage Individual is a free solution, bank feeds, categorization, but then also that then goes up to the paid for tiers. So via an accountant or bookkeeper, you can buy software directly. So the most costly solution is just £13 per month. But in the middle, we've got we've got £4, £7 and £8, depending upon the needs, functionality, in-depth reporting. But really, there's something for everyone because really, end of the day, MTD isn't all one size fits all. Some sole traders just need simple categorization of bank feeds, while some need complex invoicing, reporting, but also all the mobile devices, they have tap to pay as well. So that additional functionality to drive enablement and adoption of technology is already there.
That's great. And with your licenses, does it work where you can use one license to submit multiple quarter updates, or have you got to have a separate license for each one?
So when we're talking about licenses, we're talking about bookkeeping licenses. So today within testing, we're supporting one income stream, but really it's coming down to really understanding what's actually needed in the market. Because I think when we talk about and think about making tax digital, we tend to sort of think about the most complex or tricky client. But actually, when you think about the percentage of individuals out there with multiple trades or trade plus property, it's a really small percentage. And I think when you're looking at that capability of software, our aspiration is to deal with trade as well as property in a single ledger, but it needs to be controlled and accurate. And therefore, if you're going down the tagging or department or extended nominal ledger, you need to make sure that transactions are actually categorized in the right way. If they're not, you're in danger of putting items in the wrong report. So the key thing, we're listening to the market and really understanding what people need, but we'll watch this space.
Okay, fantastic. And with your customer service processes, then, what sort of service can accountants and Joe Public out in the street get from Sage?
Well, I think one of the things Sage is renowned for is support, isn't it? So whether it's telephone, web chat, email, everything is available. In the free solutions, or people buying or using the solution free out externally, it's going to be limited to web chat, so that makes sense. But really, from an accounts point of view, telephone support, email, account manager, you name it, that's what we're renowned for.
Brilliant. And can you do everything via a smartphone?
Well, some things are best in a smartphone, but some things are best in like a web browser experience. So when you think about, let's say, the quarterly updates and the tax return, that's going to be web enabled within the mobile phone itself. But again, whether the tools they're interlocked, work really well. So from a mobile device, capturing receipts, raising invoices, tap to pay, viewing your financials, all easy. The actual filing of the quarterly update will be like a web browser experience within the mobile device.
Brilliant. That's good to know. And then when it comes to the end of year returns, can Sage facilitate that if I've done all my quarter updates throughout the year using Sage?
Yes, that's right. So we're doing really well on the MTD tax return solution because it is a brand new experience, and I've talked about it a number of times. But yeah, we're really confident in supporting all those endpoints for what accountants and bookkeepers require.
And are you quite far in that process at the moment? Because I know there's only been, I think, 2 tax returns possibly submitted under MTD for 25. So how far along is Sage with development of that?
Yeah, and if you think about 25, that was a different rules-based solution for MTD. So we're in a new rules-based authority. So it's a case of we're going really well in terms of what we're building out, but also it's not just building out a tax return, which enables that submission of the quarterly update data. It's also weaving through in terms of how AI can actually operate differently. So if anyone's seen me present the tax return solution, we're in a really strong position in terms of what we're delivering for the final outcome.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And then if I cease subscribing with Sage, do I have read-only access, or is it a case I've got to export all the data because once that license is gone, I no longer have access?
Well, obviously under GDPR, we have certain rules and regulations to retain certain data for certain amounts of time. So from a ledger point of view, we built in the functionality where the user can export all data out quite happily into an Excel spreadsheet. Because the whole point is you want that detailed analysis for what you can use, whether you're ceasing business or going somewhere else, it's having that details of information. And from an accounts point of view, you can access the data you want as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And I've been having a quick glance over at the chat. I've seen a couple of positive comments about Sage. So that's great to see. And Robin, did we have any questions for Chris? But thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
I'm going to throw some of the questions at you that have come through on the chat. Just prepare yourself. So the very first one was the question of why does Sage charge agents when the clients are already paying? Is that sometimes an issue with Sage, or that should not be an issue, that maybe that user needs to go back and relook at?
That's news because in our cloud-based products, it's a case of if customer is paying, accountant has free access. If the accountant is paying, they're collaborating with clients. I'm not quite sure where that question's come from.
Fine. So Dorcas, go create a ticket, get on the phone line, and
Contact me on LinkedIn.
yeah.
You know where
Okay,
I am.
there we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Thank you, Chris. And just to reiterate, is it one license per trade
Yes,
for
it is.
Sage
At the moment, yes.
at the moment? Okay. And in terms of the end of year process, Alison's asked, so it's not ready yet. Now, I will answer that nobody's ready yet because
Nobody's
all the
ready. It's brand
APIs
new.
at
Oh yeah.
HMRC aren't all ready for people to connect to. But the question is, will it cover everything? Are you going to have any exclusions?
No, there are no planned exclusions.
Okay, wonderful. And last one in the chat at the moment is, will Sage 50 accounts be MTD compliant?
Yes, it is. So just wait for the January update. So as you know, Sage 50 has an update every sort of 4 to 6 months. So in January, that update will have all the MTD experience which you desire for Sage 50.
Okay. That was the last question in the chat. So well done. Thank you. That really did feel very speedy. Well done, both of you. Okay, so we're on to CCH now. So let me introduce you to Leslie. Hi, Leslie. I'm
Hi,
looking forward
Robin.
to learning a bit more about CCH. Let's go. So what are CCH looking for in a relationship? Who is your ideal customer?
So we're looking at agents, that's our market. And we say that size doesn't matter. I'm sure you've heard that before. So we work with people large 4 down to sole practitioners. If I can get my words out. We're happy with customers that are happy to stay where they are or to grow because of our client base. We can grow with them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is open and honest communication. I watch a lot of Korean drama, and there are issues there where people don't communicate or they use the wrong communication. I'd like to avoid things where they're not getting the right thing from us in terms of when we're going to deliver, or they've got issues but don't come back to us, and that can lead to a breakup or a divorce. And the third thing is being pragmatic. All the software developers test against the sandbox environment and we get it back and it works. When we go into production, there are issues. And we've seen a number of teething things, and that people that come along the journey with us, running for the software developers, need to be aware of that. It's just the way that MTD is. It's been built as we go.
So I have lots of questions about the Korean dramas, but I think possibly that's for a whole nother webinar. Can you tell us about your price ranges? What do you have your pricing?
Okay, we don't have a fixed price like some of the other people. The licensing covers access for a complete tax year. Existing customers will be on a hybrid, so there will be a small additional amount based on their current license. For new customers, it's going to depend. There'll probably be when we have a cloud-only solution, and that's going to depend on their size, what products that they're subscribed to. I mean, in both cases, then get in touch. If you're an existing customer, get in touch with the account manager. If you're a new customer, then go onto the website and register interest.
So if somebody does register interest or they're an existing customer, then they can get hold of that price at the moment, or that's still being decided?
For existing customers, they can get hold of it. For new customers, I think that's still being decided.
Okay, thank you. Licenses, I suppose this is not applicable.
So for the license, it covers the whole year. So if you've got more than one business, whether it's more than one sole trade or you've got sole trade and property, then the license covers you for all the quarterly submissions for how many businesses you have, plus the end of the year.
Okay, fabulous. And when you're doing those quarterly submissions, can you choose the period? Do you have functionality to change those dates?
No, we don't. So I've seen in the past that some software was able to do it on a monthly basis. We started out by just doing it on a quarter. So as an obligations API, we get back the dates from the revenue. So if you're on the standard quarters, then we'll pull back the quarter dates for that. If you're on the calendar quarter, again, we'll pull back the dates for that, and they're cumulatives, but the submission is for a 3-month. It's for that quarter period. So the Q1 is 3 months, Q2 is 6 months, and so on, based on what we get back from HMRC.
Okay, thank you. And now onto your customer service process. What's the best way to get hold of you? What are the response times?
We no longer have inbound calls, so all the logging has to be done online. It's based on Salesforce, and then the tickets are allocated to whichever team will be responsible. We have a number of different software products. I don't have the SLAs. I will find out and share it, but I think they have to get back to you within 24 hours to at least acknowledge it, and probably 72 hours for some sort of response, but I can confirm that afterwards.
That would be useful. Thank you very much. And I'm assuming this is going to be a no, but smartphone access?
No.
Yeah.
So it's a cloud-based product. At the moment, there's no phone. We don't do bookkeeping software, so we'll integrate with bookkeeping. We'll come on to that later, or with spreadsheets. But yeah, our product's a cloud-based product.
Okay.
You could choose to go on a smartphone, but I think it would be very small.
Okay. End of year returns. You can facilitate end of year returns. How far through the process are you, and are there any income sources that you're planning to not be able to facilitate?
So the first bit, we are planning to build out the end of year process this quarter. So I think we're a bit behind the curve on that. We'll only be supporting 25, 26 and later years, so no earlier years. We will build out all the income sources, so there won't be any exclusions. The market that we play in, including the large four, and we need to support everything, and that's what we'll do.
Wonderful. If you cease to subscribe, so if you're no longer a CCH user, will you have access to data that's been submitted, or would there be an export needed?
I reached out to our product management team, and they've said that on cancelling there'll be a grace period where you can continue to access the data and download it. This can be discussed further at the time of cancellation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any questions via the chat, Tom?
No, but I've had some positive feedback from Laura, who says she always gets a good response from CCH personal tax support. So that's great feedback, Leslie, I think.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Laura.
Next up's Absolute.
Fantastic. Well, hello, Absolute. How are you guys doing?
More nervous than I expected to be, and I'm glad we brought our technical support manager to answer some of the questions.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully this all goes very smoothly. So what are you looking for in your relationship, as in moving forward with who's your ideal customer?
Well, we've got a fairly broad base. So ours is a bridging product. We have a similar one for that filer, and we've got a very broad range of clients. So individuals, so unrepresented, and agents. Anyone that could get the information onto a spreadsheet, we can take it off the spreadsheet and file it to the revenue. Is the general gist. We intend to provide. Well, we've put together a couple of separate spreadsheets that can be used. What Charles Mooney, one of our owners, feels is a fairly standard requirement that would cover most people, and a slightly more sophisticated version where you can put the spreadsheet together and then bridge it in that way. So we don't have a fixed view on clients. We just, based on feedback and based on what we think, not everyone needs a bookkeeping package. They're already providing or already putting together the information they want. Agents, I think someone mentioned earlier, there'd be a variation between how much work they want the clients to do and how much work they feel their clients want to do. Our software, you can dip in and out the process almost. So you could have your clients filing quarterlies, download to your own tax software or our tax software, or you can complete the whole process within the bridging package.
I think this ties into my next question about licenses, because for anyone that isn't aware of what bridging software does, could you give us a really brief explanation of what the bridging software does, how it works? Use the word spreadsheet, because I think there's been a lot of misinformation out there saying spreadsheets cannot file under MTD. So great opportunity to talk about that now.
I think I'll let Ash answer that one. She'll probably do it better than I.
So as Dave said, it's been designed so that anybody that currently uses an Excel spreadsheet can effectively just upload the data via our client portal and submit to HMRC. We've got the bridging spreadsheet, which we kind of designed in mind of accountants who where their clients have already probably got a spreadsheet. They don't want to change how they work, so they'll just continue using that spreadsheet, and then they run our kind of macro-enabled spreadsheet that will just lift the data into the relevant boxes and then upload it through the portal. Or there's the separate spreadsheet that Dave mentioned where accountants could send it out to their clients as a standard template for them to log the transactions, and then they could send that back once a month, or sorry, once a quarter, and then that again can be uploaded via our cloud product.
Fantastic. And what's the sort of price range with your licenses of bridging software?
We will sell it in the lowest level will be batches of 5 Ninos, £40. So if you've got 5 clients, £8 per client per year.
And will you be selling licenses to Joe Public, not through
We
accountants?
will, yes.
Okay.
And if it's only them that do it, it would be £40. It's 1 to 5 licenses would probably be a better way of describing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that all makes sense. And would you need to have separate licenses for each source of income to file a quarterly update?
No.
No.
Okay, brilliant. Nice and easy answers there. So next up, can you choose the submission period for quarter end? So for example, if your quarter end is 30th of June and you file it on the 7th of August, does it include everything up to the 7th of August, or can you have a cut-off of the 30th of June?
You can do either. You can basically do either.
Fantastic.
All we do is we display the filing periods of the obligations that HMRC return. You can upload the spreadsheet. If the period dates that you submit for sort of span over the quarter, it will close the quarter, but it will post all of the information that's in the spreadsheet, so it will cover all of the dates.
Brilliant, thank you. And then customer service wise, what sort of support can accountants and Joe Public get?
It's our intention, telephone and email support for agents, email support only for non-represented.
That's fair enough.
You know, I'm sure most of you know we're owned by Tim Good and Giles Mooney that are lecturers. So having worked for them for best part of 30 years, it's been made clear to me they don't want people throwing rotten tomatoes at them in the lecture room. So one thing.
Yeah, I've been to a few of their webinars there and sessions. They're quite good. And can you do everything via a smartphone with Absolute, or is this going to be a desktop job?
Desktop based. It will run on a Mac, but you need to have Excel installed.
Okay. And then end of year returns, can you facilitate that? And is there any sources of income that you can't pull through on your software?
So we've already done the end of year for 24-25 and successfully submitted one of those. 25-26 is built as much as we can do. Obviously, we're still, like everybody else, we're waiting for HMRC, and it's our intention to cover all sources.
Oh, fantastic. Well, congratulations on getting that 24-25 files. That's very good. And then if you cease to subscribe with Absolute, how does it work with the information that's held by Absolute?
You'll have full access. We won't restrict full access to that.
Fantastic. That's nice and smooth. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that. Any questions in the chat, Robin?
Just the one. Lots of love for Absolute, actually. So good, and lots of love for spreadsheets from me, anyway. But the question in the chat is: if clients have detailed Excel files with non-standard categories, how will the bridging software cope with that?
So you effectively map it to the box, the expense heading that you want it to go to. So if your client has got it listed as whatever they call it, you can just map it across to whichever the relevant expense heading is.
Sure. So you click on the bits that you want it to pick up.
That's it, exactly.
And it goes to whatever box you are linking it with.
That's the one, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So now on to Hammock. James, hello. So let's start straight away. What are you looking for in a relationship? Who is your ideal client?
Yeah, so I think I must be the gold digger of the group because I'm looking for people with property is what I'm looking for. But yeah, we are, for those who don't know, Hamlet, we are landlord only. So we are built entirely for landlords. So I guess really we're looking for agents who have landlord clients, and particularly those who want to be able to go to clients with something that doesn't just tick a box for compliance, it actually does offer like additional features which just help them manage their properties, things like tracking their arrears, getting reminders for important like non-tax deadlines and compliance.
Great. And is your ideal an agent or is your ideal a client straight out?
We don't mind. It's like landlords can come to us direct, or agents obviously can take licenses and give to their clients.
Sure. Tell us a bit more about those licenses and the price range.
Yeah, so if a landlord was to come direct, actually, one thing I should say, our pricing is based purely on one thing, and that is how many properties sit within that license. So our basic tier covers up to 3 properties. For a landlord who comes direct, that would be £8 a month plus VAT. But for agents, we offer discounts, and for MTD Therapy, we have a special offer which actually starts at just £3 plus VAT per month, and you only have to take a minimum of 5 licenses, which is lower than we would normally do as well.
Now you got a nice heart reaction there, and I would agree that was something that came up in MTD therapy that needing a lower number of licenses is often the case when you've got a sole practitioner. So tell us about those licenses. Can someone have multiple properties? Also, can you tell us a bit more about if somebody is a sole trader as well as a landlord?
Yeah, so we don't cover sole trade. So if you've got a landlord who's also a sole trader, you can still absolutely use Hammock for the property submissions, but you would need to use one of the other lovely people on this group for the sole trade. So that's the first thing. What you can do within a Hammock license, though, is you can do all property submissions, so UK and all foreign property incomes. And really importantly, we can do joint ownership or mixed ownership within a single license. So obviously the most common being husband and wife own properties together. They only need one license. They don't have to pay once, but you can make submissions for both.
Wonderful. Okay, I anticipate we might have some more questions on that coming up in the chat. But let's move on to the next question for now. Can you choose your submission period? How do the QUs work in Hammock?
Yeah, so you have two choices: standard dates or calendar dates. The submissions are quarterly and cumulative, so you can make multiple submissions during a quarter, but it will be for that quarter.
Okay, brilliant. And your customer service process, how responsive are you? What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely, I think one of the things everyone really always says about Hammock is how good our support is, both for landlords and accountants. If any of you want to go and look at our trust pilot, that's kind of all everyone's talking about. It's main ways of contacting us are email, phone, live chat on the platform. I know some people are scared of AI agents, but our AI agent on the platform is actually, I think, amazing. It knows more than me on some of these things. So, and the good thing about an AI agent is they work 24/7 and they don't sleep or take holidays. So if, a lot of landlords do like to log on at like 2 in the morning and do stuff. So yeah, that they can.
I think a lot of accountants like to log on at 2 o'clock in the morning and do stuff as well. Great. And can you do everything via a smartphone?
So we do have a Hammock app, a mobile app, but it's only for landlords, not for accountants. So that's an important thing. The mobile app for landlords, it doesn't have all of the functionality that you get in the desktop app for obvious reasons, but it does have pretty much all the main stuff.
And how about year-end returns? Can you facilitate year-end returns?
So you will be able to facilitate full end year returns in Hammock. The first year we'll be 26, 27. So once you're fully in MTD. The truth is, though, especially because it's mainly agents on this call, I don't anticipate that many agents to be using Hammock for end of year. You could, but as you all have end of year software and you'll be able to pull that data in, I don't think most accountants want to change their end of year process. But we obviously have a lot of landlords who are unrepresented, and those people will obviously need that functionality.
Sure. And will there be any exclusions of the types of income?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wonderful. And then the final question, if you cease to subscribe with Hammock, do you have read-only access for a while, or do you have to export?
So Hammock is like a monthly rolling contract. So if you were to cancel, you would get to the end of the month anyway because you've paid for that month. But realistically, if you came to us a month later, we would happily just switch it on, let you take the data and switch off again. So yeah, we're pretty relaxed. We would never withhold data, put it that way.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions in the chat, Tom?
No, but a lot of love. Great to see that. Yeah, really good feedback as well. We're having a look through that, James. Very positive. And thank you to everyone that's given their feedback. That's what we kind of want from this, is that we don't all use the software. So this is a great opportunity to everyone to talk positively about how they find and using the software. So thank you for that. And thank you, James.
Good.
So next up, we've got Paul from Dext. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good, thank you. Nice to be here.
I've got quite a few of your old Dex t-shirts in my wardrobe, I must admit. I used to collect them like they were going out of fashion. So relationship-wise, customers, who's your ideal customer? Who's your target market with your MTD product?
So Dex Solos is available for accountants and bookkeepers. Clients can have access to Dex Solo, but our target is accountants and bookkeepers. And in terms of the sort of ideal customer and the relationship side of things as well, this is me also putting on my practice hat. Relationships two-way are so important. It's so important that we get feedback, so we always encourage the feedback. And we want that engagement, we want that communication, we want those insights, because that will ultimately mean we build the product that users want, not what we think they want.
Fantastic. And when you talk about your product that you're offering, what is the sort of price range that you've got for Dext? How does your pricing work?
Yeah, so for Dex Solo, obviously there's full Dext, which is a different sort of solution. Dex Solo, which is specific for MTD, for income tax, £2.50 per client per month plus VAT, minimum bundle size of 5. So in essence, £12.50 for five clients. I say plus VAT as well because most of these clients are going to be non-VAT registered. So the true cost to these clients is actually going to be £3 in essence if it's recharged on and things like that. So yeah, that's it. Minimum bundle size of 5, £2.50 per client per month.
Fantastic. And questions come up in the chat actually, which I was going to ask anyways. Why is there a minimum number of clients for this? Why can't you do I've got 2 clients and I want to use Dex Solo. Why does it need to be a bundle of 5?
It's just a strategy that we've taken in terms of cost of acquisition and things like that, and the support that we want to continue to provide to our partners throughout as well. So, these
I
things
suppose that
are
makes
never
sense.
necessarily set in stone, but it's always about, we want to be able to support our users as well as they engage and use it. After 5, you can take individual licenses.
Okay, so yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for that. And then how do you, well, you just explained how the licenses work, but when it comes to submitting your quarterly update for each source of income, can you do it all through one QU, or have you got to have separate licenses for each source?
So you can have up to 5 different income sources per license. So in essence, you could have 1 UK property income, 4 self-employed businesses. That all falls under one license of £2.50. You don't need to have separate licenses.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And then when it comes to the submission period end, can you lock the date, or how does it work with your product?
So we don't have the functionality of lock dates in the product at the moment, but that's being worked on as we speak. The lock date becomes more critically important when you get Q to Q4 because of cutoff and potentially entering a new tax year. But we support, like many of the other products, the sort of standard quarters, your calendar quarters. What we're currently working on is the cutoff, because you have up until the first quarter to decide. You can still change whether you're standard or calendar quarter until the first quarterly submission. So you could have somebody for 24, 25 or 25, 26 on standard, and then you suddenly get to the first quarter and you want to do fiscal or calendar. So we're working on bringing in automation for the cutoff, even though my understanding is HMRC's guidance is you just do a manual adjustment at the finalization stage. Our preference is to try and automate all of that.
I'm not even going to open up that can of worms about what we're going to do with the first 5 days of the tax year for next year. I think that's a problem for February, if I'm honest. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Now, customer service, you've touched on that a little bit earlier on, but how does it work with customer service at Dext?
Yes, we have a very strong sort of customer support team. So we've got, phoning, we've got in-app messaging, we've got account managers. We've got multiple methods that we've had in place for many, many years within Dext, as I'm sure many people are already aware. And our support is covered or seen in terms of some of our reviews. Trustpilot 4.70, we've got the highest number of reviews and highest ratings compared to many of the other products, just sort of generally in this ecosystem.
Brilliant, thank you. And can you do everything via a smartphone? Does that include the end of period submission?
So in terms of the smartphone, everything in terms of data collection, taking images, uploading the documents, all of that via the smartphone. In terms of the quarterly updates and the finalization, we don't support the finalization stage. My view has always been from day one is I've looked at MTD as 2 parts, everything up to the quarterly updates, and then you've got the finalization. The biggest challenge for many is everything up to the quarterly updates, that data collection, completeness of records. That's where our strength is with Dext. That information goes to HMRC, and my view is there's very, very good tax products out there that many firms are going to stick with their existing tax compliance software, information to HMRC pulled back via the customer Nino.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So well, that answers my next question about facilitating end of years. And then if you cease using your DEX license, what happens with the data? Do I still have access to it or have I got to do a download?
Yeah, Dext has a number of different scenarios. You can deactivate an account and you've just got full access to all of that information as read only. If you completely cancel, you have a period of time. But again, we'd be flexible on that. And everything is downloadable as well, whether it's as PDF, as a CSV. So that information is always readily accessible.
Brilliant. Thank you, Paul. I've seen a few pings coming up through. So if we've got any questions, Robin?
Yeah, really, the main questions here are just around adding receipts, but I think you've answered them. You can add receipts as part of the bank feed solution.
Yeah, we have, I think, about 10 different submission methods: mobile app, email in, WhatsApp, drag and drop, fetch, bank fetch, bank PDF. So Deck's strong point is that data collection, extraction, categorization, and pre-populating the quarterly updates, the
Okay.
numbers.
Thank you. And just a bit of clarification on the 1st to the 5th of April point. That should only be a problem for testers. So for the 25-26 year, when we actually hit mandation, that will not be a problem anymore because the digital start date has been updated to the 1st of April. That's where all of this problem came from, just to clarify what you were talking about earlier. Great. I don't think there's any other questions for next. Brilliant. So, ClearBooks, thank you for being very patient, David. Nice to see you. So straight in, what are you looking for in a relationship? Who's your ideal client?
So we're looking for accounting and bookkeeping firms who want software that's available today, robust and reliable software with a proven track record. Agents is obviously mostly the people attending today, but we have a lot of unrepresented taxpayers using our software as well. And especially, the sole traders and landlords, especially those looking for genuinely free software, because we have a free plan, which is very well received from our customers. So
Tell us a bit more. So you have the free option. Tell us about your pricing.
Yeah, so the free plan is there for those with basic needs. So I'll be really really upfront. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that our paid plans have, and so we've got upgrades available. But the free plan does include bank feeds and our automated coding tools and all of the MTD quarterly update and end of year submissions. So that will be sort of the baseline.
And am I right in thinking that applies to people up to the VAT threshold?
No, so the free plan includes those above the VAT threshold, but it doesn't include the VAT return functionality.
Okay.
So there'll be we have plans that are up to the highest price plan that you might be paying is around that £41 a month, which is quite a sort of standard price, and that's mostly for limited companies. So we're actually going to be rolling out some new plans that are more affordable price for sole traders. So that information is not on our website yet, but that is coming soon. So I just want to sort of be clear that that's there's going to be sort of around that, closer to that £5 to £15 mark, as we do expect for sole traders who aren't prepared to, are not able to afford the higher priced plans that larger companies can have.
Fantastic. So, how do licenses work? What if somebody's got two sole trades? What if someone has a rental property?
Yeah, so we do have the free plan available. So, the number of licenses doesn't really matter when it's free. And so, only about 3% of taxpayers have more than one sole trade. And so, to be honest, the way it works today with ClearBooks, you do need a different license for each of your sole trade returns that you're making. But because it's only 3% of taxpayers, we thought, well, let's just start with that. That's how our systems work in the baseline. We're really keen to hear feedback, because if that doesn't work for those 3%, then we can look at adjusting that. But that's how it works today.
Is it possible to have the same person have a license that they're paying for, and then their other sole trade can benefit from the free license?
Well, both could benefit from the free license.
But you could also have someone that has an upgrade on one of their trades, for example.
That's right.
Okay. So can you choose the submission periods for quarterly updates? How did the quarterly updates work?
Yeah, so we want to make the software really easy to use and really clear that you're being compliant. So what we do is we pull back the obligations, the filing deadlines periods from HMRC, and we let people submit for those obligation periods. So you can choose tax year or calendar quarters. This is quite common across all the software providers, right? And so that way it's really easy to know that you've submitted and you're compliant. So we don't have the ability to sort of choose an ad hoc date to file a quarterly update, but we appreciate that that might be of interest. And so, when we get feedback, we always take that on board. And so if that's something that is going to be valuable, we'll look to build that in the future, perhaps.
So how about customer service? How do people best contact you and what's the response times?
So for accountants and bookkeeping firms, we've got phone support, we've got email ticket-based support, we've got a range of comprehensive support guides and videos, and a community forum as well for our customers to interact with each other if they wish. And for our unrepresented taxpayers, that's also available, except those on the free plan who are not accountants, they don't have access to the phone. We did have to sort of draw the line somewhere, so just be really transparent about that. But 99% of our customer queries are responded to in 30 minutes. And I think that's why we've got our excellent rating on Trustpilot, because it's sort of, the service is right there.
And I certainly know you're quick to reply on MTD Therapy for any questions we have directly to yourself. So thank you for that. And I've been looking forward to asking this question. How about smartphone usage with ClearBooks?
Yes, so we have a mobile application for Apple and for Android, and so that's really good for things like taking photos of bills and receipts and raising invoices and that sort of thing. And then anything that isn't available in the mobile application is available in the browser, so that works on the computer, on a laptop, and on the phone or a tablet. So yes, you can do everything on a smartphone, although you might move between the mobile app and the browser based on what you're looking to do.
Brilliant. How about end of year returns?
Yeah, so we're the first, or one of the first software providers to to be fully HMRC recognized for all of the different parts of the Making Tax Digital for year end. So anybody who goes to the software finders tool and looks for software will see that ClearBooks has got everything included there. So that's testament to where we are today. We're first to get all of that available and on a free software as well. So not just it will support it, it does. So that's I'm really proud of the team for having delivered that.
Brilliant. And the last question, if you cease to subscribe, do you have read-only access or is there an export needed?
Yeah, so we've got the free plan as well. So if cost was an issue, that's there. And then for somebody who closes their account, we have a data retention policy. So we retain the data in line with that, and that can be available. For example, if a liquidator comes back needing data, that sort of thing.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Any questions popping up, Tom?
We have, yeah, and I think this has been a question that's been raised before. But ClearBooks, this is from Amanda. How is your free MTD software going to work? It seems too good to be true. What is the catch?
So there is no catch. I mean, it is for those with basic needs. It includes bank feeds and it includes all of the MTD quarterly updates and end of year. It works for sole traders and property as well. But we've got paid plans that have more bells and whistles, and we hope that the benefits of those paid plans will entice enough customers to upgrade to a paid plan. We've been around since 2008. We've got a loyal and stable customer base, and so we've got the resources to support that. So I encourage anybody to look at it and to tell me the restrictions and things that might seem too good to be true. I'm happy to be sort of like held to set up for that.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think at this point we're going to move on to our camera on, camera off section. Do we have a fun name for this game yet? I think we need to think
no, maybe
name.
Actually our audience can tell us if they can think of a good name so that we can name it for the next round at 1 o'clock. So we're going to play a game now, software vendors. Get ready to turn your screens on and off. You will also notice that Stu has joined us from Free Agent. I assume he's just here to listen for this one. Free Agent aren't part of this software speed dating. So just come along at 1 o'clock if you want to know Free Agent's the answers to these. What we're going to do is we're going to pose some questions to everybody, and if the answer is yes, we can do this in our software. Keep your cameras on and give us a big thumbs up or a wave. If the answer is no, our software cannot facilitate that. Can you turn your camera off? So a nice speedy way of getting to know the answers to different questions. Of course,
So
we
Robin,
know. Yep.
sorry, this was not just in the software now, but by April 26, just to
Yeah.
clarify.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what you will be plan to have ready by the time that Making Tax Digital goes live. So also we understand that some of these questions are not going to be completely applicable to bridging software. So it just if it doesn't apply, please also turn your camera off. Okay. Great, and it leads me nicely because somebody has asked the question, the very first question that we're going to put to everybody. So the very first question is, can you facilitate consolidated or 3-line quarterly updates? Yes or no? Hooray! So we've got ClearBooks, Absolute, Hammock, and KPM all supporting 3-line, with Sage CCH Dext not. Okay.
Should we just quickly explain what we mean by that,
Yes, yeah,
Robin,
go
as
for
well,
it. Go on.
before people are. So, the 3 lines for the quarterly updates, it goes back to you can provide a full profit loss account or just 3 lines when you do the submission, and that's as simple as that. And I know for some accountants they don't want to have the full P&L, whereas others want to have the full P&L. So it's good to know what the providers actually can do.
That's been something very emotive in the group, people wanting at least to have the option. So it's really interesting to see that that's split there. Next question. Can you toggle off or hide the tax estimate from the client? Okay, good. Good. So yes from ClearBooks, KPM, Sage, and Dext, and no from the others. Good. Next, cameras back on. We're going to speed through this because we're running out of time, I can see. So next one, can you lock the software to prevent anyone editing it? Is that a yes from everybody? House. Wonderful. Good. It's like you've been talking to accountants about how much we want to make sure that our clients can't touch it. Good stuff. Is there function to have the client sign or approve the quarterly update before submission?
Another full house. Well done.
Oh, almost.
Oh, one dropped out.
Almost. Okay, Bim, there you go. There's an idea to build. Good. Next one. Good stuff. Is there a full audit trail available of changes? Okay, yes, from ClearBooks, Sage, Dext, Absolute, and KPM. And next one, screen's back. Is there? I've still got project tracking capability on my list.
So this one
I was told I'm not allowed to ask that.
Yeah. So this question is there department or category reporting capability in your software?
Sorry, that's too much accounts for me. So that's a yes from ClearBooks. Yes.
What does that mean? I'm not sure.
It's another software provider would call it the products category. So can you break your P&L account? You've got your normal coding, but then can you separate inside the coding for different projects?
So that's an interesting one for I would have said Hammock can keep their screen on there because you do it per property. Yeah, there you go, back on again. Good. Next question. Can your software facilitate foreign property rental reporting? Oh, that's a yes from everyone but Dext and Sage. And last one, do you have your own tax calculation built in for the final tax return as opposed to having to draw it from HMRC if you want to see a tax position? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So yes from Absolute and KPM, but no from everybody else. That's possibly not what I expected. And I'm going to do some more questioning on that after the end of this software. Speed dating, very interesting.
So on that, I'm not I'm actually just not sure. So I thought better.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
It'd be interesting as well to do this again in February before we all really have to fully commit to our software choices to see where everyone is at as well, I think at that point.
Exactly. So we're on to just a few closing comments from everyone, and you'll note that we've got 1 minute left to get through all of you. So our last question, and let's go through in the same order as we did our little interviews. If your software didn't exist, which software would you use? And then you've got maybe 30 seconds to say something about your software if you want to. And also maybe can you answer the question, is the QU a click of a button? So Nicholas, do you want to go first on that one?
So yes, the quarterly update is a click of a button. But if I'm just understanding your first question, is if Capian didn't exist, what would this hypothetical software be? It would be a software where accountants.
No, you have to answer another software. It doesn't have to be one that's here.
Okay. I've misread the question then. Which, to be honest, I think all of our vendors out here are all pretty good and reliable. I would obviously be rooting for a cloud-based software solution. That was a native cloud-based solution, just because that's what we're cut from, really. I'll give you some time back. There you go.
Okay, you'll get away with that, but nobody else will, because you now know what the question really is asking.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want to
Chris,
talk about your software before we go,
give us
Nicholas?
30
Yeah,
seconds.
okay. So Capian is a cloud-based solution that doesn't just do bookkeeping, it does self-assessment, accounts production, practice management, payroll, company secretarial. We're a software that brings everything together, built for accountants, used by their clients. We've got data capture from receipts, bank statements, invoices, client approvals, MTD VAT, now MTD ITSA. We're really a one-stop shop for accountants in practice, really, with a client-facing product as well.
Thank you. So over to Chris.
So, if our software didn't exist, I think I'd still be becoming a retired accountant, would not go back into the profession. However, put that to one side. It's a case of if the software didn't exist, I'd be using tools like Monzo or Tide, which actually already will be providing MTD capability within the ledger. Because when you think about those small business owners, you want to basically enable them where they're playing, and that's in the mobile application. And maybe how is Sage supporting those two providers?
Okay, clever answer. See, we've had an objection for us asking this actual question, but you can be clever about your answer, so I stand by it. Over to Leslie at CCH.
I think I'll sidestep it as well. All the people on here, they should have their own criteria for what's important in terms of the software, ease of use, efficiency, cost. Also the support when there were issues. A lot of people have said about how good their support is, and that's an important part. I'd look at, say, a couple of the people that are on here, 2 or 3, and then go on a date with them, use their software, have a play with it, and see which one works for you. Often people look at price, but that's not the most important thing. You can save a bit of money, but the impact on your business can be much worse. So whilst it's important, it shouldn't be a critical factor. In terms of our software, say we play from the big 4 down to small accountancy firms, say a sole practitioner with less than 25 customers. Our software we've got a hybrid solution, but MTD is cloud-based. And we'll be able to bridge in the information, the summary information from a spreadsheet or from bookkeeping providers. So we're looking at Xero, QuickBooks Online, Free Agent, Sage Business Cloud, I think, and Hammock's on the roadmap as well for property. Once you're in CCHI MTD for income tax, forgotten the product, then the quarterly update will be just a click of a button, and we'll deal with the end of year. So we'll cover all the sources and we'll build out the APIs that are there now. And then as they become available, we'll add those in.
Wonderful.
Great answer, Leslie.
Love that
I
answer.
noticed there was some love hearts coming up
Yeah.
when you said about pricing in particular. So that was really good feedback.
Good stuff. And on to Absolute. David Ash.
Okay, it's difficult to give a direct comparison because we're a genuine bridging product. But if we didn't exist, I mean, I maybe misunderstood the question, but what I would be looking for, I put flexible, reliable customer service, pricing stability, and if I didn't want a bridging package, I would probably go for ClearBooks based on general feedback that seems to be out there. Saying
Excellent.
that, I
And
still think you should have a look at ours because you might not need ClearBooks on booking. But I'm just saying.
okay, and the quarterly updates, are they a click of a button? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone's getting the wrong answer. The correct
Yeah.
answer is no.
Don't say click of the button. Sorry, yes.
Okay, I've given you the answer, James. But
Oh, I already knew the answer.
it's true. Go on. Who would you be using? Anything you want to say? Closing words from Hammock, and is it a click of a button?
Yeah, so I always say our competitor is a spreadsheet. And when Hammock didn't exist, we were so unhappy with that solution that we built Hammock. So if Hammock didn't exist, maybe we'd build it again. But yeah, I think based on that, I probably, if Hammock didn't exist, I probably would have to go for a bridging software. Though I must admit, I've never used one. So, but yeah, that's probably my answer. Um, and is it a click of a button? Look, the work in Hammock is doing your bookkeeping. If you do your bookkeeping, and most of it will automate, by the way, once, because a lot of landlord transactions are just regular and recurring. So you start and it just starts to do the bookkeeping for you in most cases. That is the work. Once all of that work is done, quarterly submissions are two clicks of a button actually. But yeah,
Slightly better. Okay.
the work is just keep on top of your bookkeeping, and the rest is easy.
Okay. Good. Great. Good answer. Thank you. And Paul, Dext.
Yep. So if Dex didn't exist, Dex Solo, for me, it actually comes down to client needs. If my client was VAT registered, probably already on a GL, so I would stick with my Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, ClearBooks, Free Agent. I wouldn't want any more disruption. You're already using it for your VAT registered clients. My client has very few transactions for quarterly rental receipts. I'd use a spreadsheet and bridge it across. So I then, depending on what I'm using for my tax compliance, I'd either use Iris, CCH, Absolute. It doesn't really matter. It's the client's needs. And if my client needs advanced reporting, operates a purchase ledger, needs all of the sales ledger side of things as well, then I'd be swaying towards the general ledger as well, who are geared up for maintaining all of the necessary control accounts and all of the necessary ledgers for a full double entry process. So for me, it's actually everything up to the quarterly updates. I think it's probably multiple solutions depending on client needs. At the end, finalization, I think it's one solution.
You have possibly hit the nail on the head for how a lot of agents are feeling, that it's led by exactly who our client is, and that actually is what makes this kind of webinar needed, or that we felt was needed, because all the different options are going to suit all different people, and we have all different types of clients. So thank you for that. And
That needs to be a poll, I think, actually, Robin, for next time.
Okay,
Because I'm very much in the boat of, I used to be very focused on one provider, and with MTD coming around, I'm now thinking I need to have multiple software providers now on board in my toolkit to help people out. So
at least
I think that's great
understand what's
feedback.
there, to have
Exactly.
that understanding, so you can say, no, I don't actually think you should use this because or you should use this because. Now, David, you get some closing words here. ClearBooks, who would you be using? Is it a click of a button? Anything else you want to say?
So yeah, who would I'd be using if ClearBooks didn't exist? So I had a sort of a political answer, but you obviously were quite clear, Robin, that you
It's not
want
allowed.
someone, and so I'll send up an answer that even if it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. What I'd probably do is I would go to the HMRC software choices tool, and I would look for a software that supports everything. I'd see ClearBooks there, and I'd see one other software provider, and that software provider is Untied. So I think that's probably where I would start.
And we have Untied joining us at the 1 p.m. session, so let's hope they return the love.
Well, we're cousins, aren't we? I suppose in that sense of being on the HMRC list. The quarterly update, a click of a button. So if the bookkeeping's good, then the quarterly update should just be clicking the button to actually send the submission through. But obviously, that's assuming that all of the bookkeeping is in a good state. And so that's why at ClearBooks we've got these robust tools with bank feeds and the automation of coding the bank transactions and full double entry, everything that you'd expect, so that the quarterly update doesn't become the stressful part of the process.
Okay, brilliant. Well, all that's remaining is for me to thank all of you for joining us, both our attendees and our panelists, for having such a candid discussion about your softwares. Hopefully it's been of use to everybody here. We will be looking at drawing up an information sheet just to recap some of the answers so that we can see side by side how different softwares compare. So again, thank you very much for joining, and we will see you for round 2 at 1 o'clock, which will be on the same login details as now, which hilariously gives me a problem of I don't think I can shut this particular webinar down, because then we won't be able to open up the next one. So please exit the webinar when you are ready. And again, thank you to everybody.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Right.